What is going on? Your baby boys are back. We're getting ready to get on the rodeo of BWP Tour 48. And we decided to do a podcast about the lore of Brice and Wen and our excitement for this tour. And just to talk about like tour life, because I feel like, Wendell, people don't understand how stressful and how draining this tour could be. However, we love it so much, but it's a lot. And so I just was like, you know what? Let's jump on a pod and talk about our excitement for BWP Tour 48 and go down a little memory lane. Wendell, we've been touring. This is our 8th tour.
Wow. 8 official tours?
So, I mean, if we're talking tours, it is 6 official tours, and we've had 2 other seasons where we were testing different things out, seeing what works. I mean, I don't think we really decided on calling things a tour. I think like Destiny's Child with Survivor, you know, Beyonce wrote the song Survivor because they were having group member changes and people kept saying like, what do these girls think they're on Survivor? And so around season 41 and 42, we were going to DC, we were going to New York. People were almost like making fun of us, not making fun of us, but being like, what y'all think y'all on tour?
Yeah. Yeah. And also, Brice, sometimes you got to call a thing, and sometimes you got to put a name to something. And once you name it, then things become official. And I think once we named it, what was it, Tour 44, Tour 43, wherever we started, it was like, all right, we have something.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, now we can build on this. We can tighten it up. We can make it better. And I remember before we were doing just tours, when it was like, yo, you want to test out DC in 2 weeks? Yo, all right, let's hurry up and whip up this flyer. And now it's at the point where we talk to the people, we understand where they want us to go, we plan for the future, we make a strategy, and you know, we try to make sure we hit new cities each season.
Yeah.
And it's a real thing, and it's great.
It is. It's so much fun. I think the best part of the tours for me are the beginning stage of the tour, the creative stage, when we are kind of like cooking up where we want to go, what the tour should look like. For me, those are just my favorite part of the tour, because I feel like I come out of my cocoon at that point in time, because the tours drain me. I don't know how you do it, Wendell. Y'all that's listening and watching, we'll get off the tour. Wendell will be in his backyard working, just like, hey, you want to come over? For me, I am dead to the world. And that's like a literal and physical thing for me. And I also think that in the beginning, I don't think you believed that. I think that you thought that like Brice is just pushing away from me. But I think that like now that we are 8 tours in, I think you have a better understanding of who your friend is.
You need to recharge your battery.
Yes.
But doing this for so long with you and traveling so much with you, we started traveling with Beeb, you know, and it was, all right, me, you, and Hatch, we're in the truck. We're sharing hotel rooms. We're staying in the same hotels, whatever. We're staying at the friends' cribs. We're staying in the basement, wherever we could stay. And I realized that, you know, sometimes you get frustrated. Sometimes you wouldn't want to do everything with us. And I was getting frustrated at that. And now we know each other so well that we give each other our space. I don't need to sit next to you on a flight. Okay. I don't need to have a room on the same floor as you in the hotel. I don't even need to be in the same hotel as you. And when we get home, you need to recharge your batteries and go chill. And the way I recharge my batteries is I'm building something. I'm trying to work on a project at home, or I'm like going to, you know, the gym or something like that. And I think we've learned that we both have to recharge our batteries, give each other space, so we can come together and work together.
Absolutely. But communication is the key. And I think that that's something that, again, BWP isn't just this tour that we've created. It really, I always speak about it in the sense of like, it's embedded in our friendship. And as BWP grows, I feel like we grow as friends. And like, first and foremost, did I say that right? First and foremost, right? The thing that I care the most about is the friendship, right? Like, and so if the friendship is not intact, then it's like, I don't care about BWP. Not to say that I don't care about BWP, but like for me, it's like my relationship with you, my friendship with you. That is like my utmost priority. And so like for me, as long as we are in a good space, then we can operate really well. But I think that, again, it comes from communication. And I think that BWP has taught me that at times I am not the best communicator.
You're a much better communicator than me.
Well, yes and no. I can communicate my feelings. Oh, listen, I can tell you how I feel. That ain't no problem. So actually, let me be more clearer.
So yeah, communicate that better.
So it's not that I can't communicate because the baby boy,
yes.
I can let somebody know how I feel.
Yes.
It is, I guess, situational, would you say? Like, because I think it's sometimes, for me, I'll shut down, right? Like, and I just won't communicate because Spicy Bricey lives in me and I'm not trying to cuss nobody out. And so I think that if I don't say anything, then I don't have to come back the next day and be like, I ain't mean to cuss you out. So it's not communicating. It's effective communication and knowing when to communicate and not leaving your friend hanging.
Okay, I received that. But what I will say, Brice, is one thing that you've gotten really good at is understanding how I receive communications. And that is, all right, when I'm going to tell you something, you're going to forget it. I'm going to remind you. You're going to forget it. I'm going to remind you. You're going to forget it. I'm going to remind you and you're going to do it. So if you know, you just know, and charge it to my head and not my heart, because like, you know, I'm forgetful. So, yo, you stay on me. You'll keep reminding me, yo, hit up that venue. Yo, hit up that venue. And I'll do it and it'll get done. But you've understood that the way I receive communication, you got to kind of hit me over the head a few times with it. Pause.
Wait, what? Okay, because if that's the case,
no,
I forget. Well, listen, I forget a lot. Okay. Somebody out there, I forget a lot. Please come jog my memory. But it is definitely a learning curve. And I think that we have gotten really good at the learning curve. And which is why I think BWP is so special, because it wasn't like we sought out to go to cities and watch Survivor all day. Like, it was literally our love of Survivor, us sitting at my apartment, us sitting at your apartment, watching Survivor, going on Instagram Live. Then, you know, when Ghost Island, well, I guess we could kind of, you know, it's a Brice pie, Wen pie. So we all over the place, right? Like, I think, and again, I think when you think of the nature of our friendship, it's like Ghost Island. You were having Ghost Island watch parties, and I hit you up and was like, you know, I could be a special guest. And I don't think because for me, I had been in the Survivor game just a little bit longer than Wendell had been in. And I've been to a couple watch parties. I know what it takes, right? And so I think that when I said that to you, I think that you was like, what are you talking about? However,
how you just gonna tell me how I received it?
Because I knew, because the first time I asked you, you was like, well, think about it.
I wasn't talking to you like that then. I was like, pull up.
And so I pulled up and I worked the room. And I my energy was magnetic. And I think that then you was like, you're coming next week? And I was like, I guess. And when we think about the lore of Brice and Wen, and I'll have Timmy put these on the screen for us, but like, this is what our images used to look like.
I made that on like Canva.
Yeah.
Not even Canva. I don't know what I made that on. Special guest Brice Izyah.
So you know, and this was 2018. And it's currently 2025. So from 2018, we've been watching Survivor together. And then we started kind of sort of taking things a little bit more serious. And the first time that we ever called Brice and Wen was when Rob came to Philadelphia to do a live show. And that was April 16th, 2019. And that's when Brice and Wen Present was officially a thing. And this is what the flyer looked like for that. Now, mind you, I love that photo of us. This was at, I don't even know where this was at.
Mason Bar. So what was that bar upstairs?
This that bar that was on 13th Street. Upstairs.
Yeah, upstairs. Yeah. Wow.
Mind you, first of all, I look a mess in that photo, but I used to love that photo.
Was a good photo of us. That was me just throwing all kinds of artwork and words and stuff on a photo. I didn't know what I was doing, and we didn't have an editor. We didn't have Tricky on team at the time.
Yeah. And then the next season, season 39, we were doing watch parties. This is what it looked like.
And that's when we had an official photo shoot.
But this photo shoot wasn't for that. This photo shoot was for the first Brice and Wen.
Oh, wow.
And so we were just reusing images like, okay, because I got a stockpile of photos of me and Wendell on my phone, okay? And it's just crazy when you look at the lore and you see the evolution. So that was season 39.
Okay.
Okay. Now your premiere party for Winners at War imagery wasn't that great either.
We didn't have Tricky yet. I was doing it on my own.
And so then the pandemic happened, and then season 41 came around, and we still didn't really have a professional video image editor, right? And so this is what our premiere image looked like for season 41.
The return. Wow.
So
that old dusty.
Right. Crazy. And I'm showing you all of these images so that you can see. And if you are listening to this podcast, you should head over to the Brice Izyah YouTube so you can see these images and go down this memory lane with us. And then after 41, we got a little better, for season 42.
All right,
we started to cook.
All right, we got our little logo. We getting there.
We had it. And for season 43 was the first time we ever called it a tour. And when we called it a tour, I wanted to be very intentional, right, about our imagery. And so we used the Andy Warhol and Basquiat boxing photo. Yeah. And when we did that, people were like, what are y'all getting ready to box? What are you guys doing? And for me, it was very intentional. I had just watched this documentary and I saw Andy Warhol, this artist, Basquiat, this artist. People would never consider them friends. They had this crazy friendship. They created crazy art together. Although some people do say Andy Warhol got over on Basquiat, but we don't need to go there. However, the art that they created, I thought was really important to represent in Brice and Wen. Andy Warhol being a queer artist, Basquiat being this Black creative that was not by any means the norms of society and made these beautiful artwork. And I thought that really kind of represented Brice and Wen really well. Would you agree?
Yeah. And when you said you were thinking of the Basquiat Warhol dynamic, I was like, that is a great idea for imagery. And I think that kind of birthed this idea of the tour imagery being inspired by something else, something a little deeper, something that's not Survivor. Just how do we take, we're going to watch Survivor. Everyone knows that's our favorite thing, but how do we put our stamp on it and make it our own? And I thought it was a great idea with that. And we had that boxing imagery. We used our own colors. It was a cool spin.
Yeah. And I loved it. And then from that point on, when we started doing tours, it was very important to us that we create imagery that has meaning behind it. So sometimes you might see it and be like, they so crazy. But it really is, in my own right, he trying to be Kendrick, I'm trying to be Beyonce, and we're trying to put you on some Easter eggs, right? We are trying to drop little bit of knowledge in each of our imageries. And so from the Basquiat, we went to, that was tour 43. And so for tour 44,
what did we do?
Do you want more? We did.
Oh, we were hooping,
basketball. Yes. And again, you think, just basketball, but what's some of the fundamental foundation of basketball?
Teamwork.
Okay. Practice. Winning. Okay. You don't want to be on no losing team.
Losing.
So again, basketball, a sport, something that brings people together, large arenas. Predominantly, the league is what?
A mixed league.
Okay.
It's a mixed bag.
Mixed bag. But again, that sportsmanship, that brotherhood was really kind of the theme of Tour 44.
Wow.
And then we go to Tour 45. Similar theme, but a little different.
Oh, Keith Haring inspired.
The Keith Haring artist. And again, Keith Haring, a queer artist that made amazing work, that does a lot of his work speaks to the AIDS epidemic, the HIV, raising awareness to that. And that was just so inspiring, especially me as a queer man, you as an ally, and our events, they are a safe space for anyone to come as you are. And that was really important during that theme, was that like, listen, we have a good time. We might have survivors there, but it's like, you come as you are, show up as you are, and you have a good time.
I think at that point, I was really learning like, man, these are like true safe spaces, you know? And there was a time when we were at watch parties and they looked a certain way, and we've watched the watch parties change. And I think it was great to lean into the Keith Haring. I think that was our best imagery. That was the sharpest, like, Tricky did his thing with that.
I loved it. And again, I love what it stand for and what it meant. And yeah. And so again, the evolution, and that was Tour 45. Then we get to
4 or 5.
That was Tour 45. Then we get to Tour 46, another one of my favorites. We went back to Andy Warhol and his classic Campbell noodle soup imagery. And again, Andy Warhol, another queer artist, okay, heavy on the theme. But what I loved about the Campbell noodle soup theme was that
Why gotta be Campbell noodle soup? Why can't it just be Campbell soup?
But what is in the soup?
Depends on the can.
But if it's okay.
It's a Campbell noodle.
Listen, Campbell noodle. But what I loved about the Campbell soup was that it's a play on something that has already been done, right? Like, it's like he with that, and with the Andy Warhol imagery, like, he flips it and turns it around. And it's like, I think that that's something similar to us on BWP, where it's like, we're not the first to invent watch parties, but we put our own spin on it. We do our own thing. We ensure that they are special. We try to cater to our audience. We try to go where you guys want us to do. And I really felt like that was the image and the theme for Tour 46.
That was another really dope theme.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
And then, for Tour 47, it was the campaign.
Oh,
we were running for president. And I mean,
that was really polished imagery.
That it really was. But it also, again, the message is bringing people together. When you are, when you are,
get it together, Brice.
When you're supposed to be a civil servant, and you are supposed to work for the people, and you are supposed to do right by the people.
We knew that things could get tricky and sticky, and we've seen elections, and we figured what we've been since we've been in this game is uniters, great uniters. We want safe spaces. We want spaces where anyone, no matter their walk of life, can come together and understand this is a respectful, loving community. It's a community. And so we decided to lean into the political theme and say, you know what? No matter what's going on in politics, we're going to bring people together under these roofs to have a great time and to celebrate Survivor.
Absolutely. And I think it was a great message. And again, it's like, not whether you're Republican, you're Democrat. This is something that brings us all together. Another one of the pillars that I feel like is in BWP.
Yeah. And I mean, it's tricky. The nation is divided, and like the Survivor community can be divided. But again, and we understand that, and we understand how deeper it gets and whatnot. And we do understand, we do have our feelings, And sometimes we speak up on them, and sometimes we pick and choose our battles or when to speak up. But we understand that we're a nation and we want to bring people together. So that's what we try to do at our events. We will call anybody to come to our events.
And we lead with love. And we treat people how we want to be treated. And we don't go based on what other people have said. We go on how people make us feel. Right? Like if we want people to see us as people and human, we have to see other people as human. And I think that that's kind of how we lead with BWP. And I think that it has worked for us. It's been successful. We've had to dodge. We've had to move and shake. Yeah. But I think being open and being transparent, and when you lead with love, I think that is, you can never go wrong.
You're absolutely right. We reach out for the hugs, whoever we see, we welcome them with open arms, and we show them how we interact with our community. And the majority of times, that's how they interact with our community.
Yeah. And then we settle on up to Tour 48. And it is my personal favorite because I think that this tour has a lot of meaning behind it. I think you see us cowboys and people are like, oh, it's the Beyonce theme. And partly inspired by Cowboy Carter. But I think this imagery specifically for me, it speaks to a lot of different things. It speaks to the Buffalo Soldiers that fought for this country, defended this country that doesn't necessarily get recognized a lot. They were cowboys. And I think that it's important that we represent that. I also think that, especially in this time, in this nation, with everything being rolled back and different things, DEI, taking back Black History Month, all of this different stuff, I think it was even more important for us to stand in who we are as individuals. And I think that that's why this theme for me was super, super important. Was there any other imagery from this?
I think it was just, I think when you mentioned one theme and I was like, all right, we can think about that. And I think that we put a pin in that because you might want to go back to that for another season, which, okay, maybe. But then when you said Black Cowboys, I was like, interesting. And then you sent me some inspiration photos. I was like, whoa, that could work. These guys look really cool. And there's a history of Black Cowboys in the country, and there's a history of Black Cowboys in Philadelphia specifically. Mm-hmm. And there are still Black Cowboys in Philly, and they have been there since the early 20th century, the early 1900s. And I think it's cool that we're two Philly boys and we are traveling the country and we are going in the South and we are going to the West and going to new cities out West. And our imagery is, these two cowboys taking on the West.
Yes.
And it's pretty deep. And you had some symbolism with some of the actual symbols.
Yeah, in our actual logo. I think if you look between the BWP, there is the North Star. And historically, the North Star served as a beacon of hope and freedom to enslaved people navigating the Underground Railroad. And so incorporating that star in our imagery speaks heavily to that. Like, we're following the light. We don't know where we're going with this BWP thing, but we are going to follow the light and follow what's we deem important and where we lead. Also, another huge thing for me was, if you look on the logo, there are white jasmines. And in Texas, Black people traditionally use white jasmine flowers to decorate their floats during celebration of emancipation, particularly for Juneteenth parades. And so, again, celebrating freedom for us to be able to go on tour around the country, freedom for people to love who they want to love, freedom for whoever wants to join our armed forces can join our armed forces, freedom. We're speaking freedom. And so now more than ever, I really do. That's why I feel like so deeply connected to this theme, because it really comes from roots of Black people, but I feel like when you do your history, the roots of Black people have always been speaking up and fighting for injustice and fighting for freedom. Another one of the things, if you look at on our imagery, because listen, Baby Boy, me and Wendell went all out. There are Jubilee feathers that you can see on our flyers and imagery. And feathers, particularly in the Black culture, often represent and symbolize freedom, fight, and triumph. Yeah. And so, again,
very important to add them.
Absolutely, because there have been some battles at the BWP that we've been tested.
We've been through some things, Brice.
We've been through a lot of different things. And then also, if you look hidden in our logo, we have a black stallion, or not a black stallion, but we have a buffalo. And a black buffalo is a symbol of the symbolism of power, freedom, grace.
And represents Buffalo soldiers.
Which fought for our country. And also, the Buffalo soldiers didn't fight in the Civil War. However, African-American soldiers did fight in the Civil War. About 180,000 Black men served in the United States colored troops. So, although they're trying to cancel Black history, your baby boys are out here feathering you with themes and important stuff that is important to us. And I think that embodies a lot of what we are building in the Brice and Wen Present over here.
And we also have the white roses.
Yes, the flowers that the people in Texas, they used to. You see how he listened, but don't be listening.
Okay, we also had the 8 stars.
We'll talk about the
to
8
represent
stars.
our 8 tours.
Oh,
so we added that to the mix. There's just a lot. We have certain color choices.
So we did go with color choices that were.
All right,
yeah.
We have the black leather hat on me.
Okay,
I got you one. But you decide not to wear it. Yeah, so I think choosing to be Black cowboys for this particular tour at this time, I think is very powerful. It's also fun. It's like, we like to have fun. We did a fun photo shoot. You will see some ridiculous photos coming out as we roll this tour out, but also there's a lot more behind it.
Yeah. And again, this is another major, large, after the last tour, I said, Wendeezy,
pull back, pause. He said, we had what? How many stops?
We had 10 stops.
Okay. And you said,
let's go for 6, something more manageable, because Baby Boy got a full-time job. Baby Boy got a part-time job. Baby Boy is a podcaster. I have a lot of things that I am doing. Yes, Wendeezy is a host on Extreme Makeover. Okay. Yes, Wendeezy
is a father.
Yes, Wendeezy is a
entrepreneur.
Okay. Okay, Wendeezy doesn't know what it's like when your supervisor puts on a Teams meeting at 9 a.m. and says camera on. Wendell doesn't know that struggle.
I'm sorry, as an entrepreneur, you work 24/7.
So I said, Wendeezy, we got to cut back. I can't do it.
And I said, okay.
And then I don't understand how we ended up with 9 stops and 11 actual places that we're going. And so, listen, it's the friendship. When the baby boy is recharged, I don't know if this is a good reference, but like the Energizer Bunny, okay? Keeps going and going. But it is super exciting to get ready to settle up for this rodeo. And I couldn't be more excited to be heading out to a city near you with my best friend. And like I said before, I think that it's easy to see the glitz and the glam of what BWP is, but it is a lot of hard work. It is a lot of tears. It's a lot of car rides of us not talking. It is a lot of things that we sacrifice to be able to give you this amazing tour. And so I say that to say that we appreciate all of you guys for coming out and always supporting us, but it's a lot on the baby boys. However, we do it because we care.
And we do it for the community. Like, we've been battle tested. We've had so many things go on. We've had to switch venues the day before the event. We've had DJs cancel on us the day of the event. We have had scandalous things. We've been hit by so many things.
Been accused of stealing people's parties.
There's been so much that we've been hit with, to the point where we're battle tested now. We know exactly what we're doing. We know what we stand for. And we know that any of these things that hit us, it's a quick pivot. We don't even blink. We just make sure that our events and this community that has been built around these events keeps going. And when we've second guessed things, we lean back on the community and we think about all the people that we see, the people at each stop. We could name dozens of people who have become our friends, the people that have become members of the team, the people that are the posse members. There are so many. We could literally rattle off names in every single city. We appreciate you all so much. And when we think about anything happening to us or to BWP or anything, we always go back to this amazing community, the people that come together, and the joy and the things that come out of that.
Yeah. And it's all about bringing people together. And that's, again, what I love the most, is that traveling the city with my best friend, traveling the country and getting to see the posse, getting to see the people, live reactions of Survivor, Tribal Council is crazy. And also for the other survivors that get to come, giving them their life and being able to say that, like, yeah, you might have been on Survivor however long ago, but you are still a legend in this community, and let's show them some love. And which is why, again, I'm just so excited to head on this tour, this BWP Tour 48. We are kicking it off in New York, February 26th. From New York, we'll be heading to Los Angeles May 5th. From Los Angeles, May 12th, we're going to be in San Francisco.
Bay Area.
March 19th, we'll be in Nashville.
Yeehaw!
April 2nd, we're headed to Chicago. Chicago, we see you.
Chi-Town, stand up.
Yes. Then April 9th, the RHAP live event will be there. April 16th, the Ron Clark Academy will be there. April 23rd, we're heading to Austin, Texas.
Yeah. We're going to Austin. Back for the first time.
Okay. Because when he wrote that, I said, how are we going back for the first time? But then I understood it. We've been to the state, not the city. Okay, it took me a while. When you wrote that, I meant to text you that the other day. When you wrote that caption,
oh my goodness,
I went to edit it.
Oh my goodness,
I was like, this don't make sense.
I never heard back. You know what? What other cities are we going to, Brice?
I really meant to tell you that the other day.
I hope you didn't edit it.
I did, because I was like, how are we going back for the first time?
Keep reading the cities.
Okay, sorry, but I was like, how are we going back to San Francisco for the first time? Okay.
It's a term.
I know. It perplexed me. Okay. It perplexed me.
It perplexed you.
Yes. Had me bent up like a pretzel.
Okay.
Okay. April 30th, we will be home in the city of Philadelphia. And you know Philly in the spring turns up. May 7th, we're going to be in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., you twisted our arm enough.
We're coming back, and we got a bigger venue.
Oh.
It's a big venue, proper 21K. Let's go.
Let's go. May 14th, we'll be in Boston.
Back at Game On Fenway. You know how it goes in Boston. We probably going to have games in there.
Oh.
It's going to be a good time in the Bean.
And May 21st for the finale, we'll be back in New York City. Tickets are available now. We would love to see you on the road. I love meeting people that listen to the podcast. You know, with us being on the road, that means Survivor News is coming back. So your baby boys, me, Wendell, and Jack will be arguing all season, okay? Because you know how we get down on Survivor News. So we'll have Survivor News back. We'll be on tour. And, you know, this is the first time Wendell and I have recorded in person. And it feels good. The only thing that I do feel a little uncomfortable with.
Don't you say a word about Riri.
Nobody's talking about Rihanna, but you had some dip upstairs, and I was like, let me just take a little dip, green pepper and a little onion. And mind you, the whole time I'm like, I wonder if he could smell my breath, because I can smell it and it's this onion. So I don't like that part about it, but can you smell it?
No, get out of here with that.
But let us know if you like this new format of us recording together. We've been thinking about doing some debriefs after the tour. We'd have to get Joey Hatch in here to debrief with us. But, you know, we are experimenting. We are growing. And I'm excited to be on this rodeo with you and you, the listeners and watchers.
Yeah, me too.
Any final words?
My final words are, we will see you on tour 48, BWP 48, coming to a city near you. We'll see y'all soon. Thank y'all for tuning in. We out.
We're out. Okay.
Okay.